Okay, so it's 6:30. We're going to open the meeting, call to order. We have present myself, Tom Lahey, Hans, Diane, and Larry Pence, and Carol, and Jerry, and Janet present. So we have a quorum. So call the meeting to order, and we'll now proceed for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So now I'll introduce Ray, and then this way, when Ray is finished, if he wants to stay, he's welcome to, but if he has other priorities, we understand. So go ahead, Ray, if you want. The echo in this room is terrible, and we have this little PA system here that helps augment the sound enough, so maybe grab that one on the end and just speak into that, if that will help. Thank you.
Hi, as he said, my name is Ray Dominy, and I thought I'd start by telling you just a little bit about me and my background. I grew up in South Florida, Coral Gables. I've been in this area since 1980, when I was stationed at Kings Bay, Georgia. I'm retired military. I was in for 22 years. And served mainly in the submarine service. Stationed on 3 different submarines. Stationed overseas in Europe twice. And my last duty station was Kings Bay, Georgia, where I was part of a mobile technical unit. And I was stationed there for 5 years. When I got out of the service, I opened my first business, and I was repairing camcorders and VCRs until they became extinct. And so did the business. So when that closed down, I went to work for a company called Sally Corporation. They're in Jacksonville. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. We made animatronic characters and rides for the theme park industry. Yeah. I was with them for 20 years. When I left, I was vice president and technical director for the company. I've been in communications, or IT now they call it, ever since I first joined the Navy. When I was on submarines, I was a radio. And I worked at various communication centers, worked with some of the first computers that were installed in the embassy in London. So I had a kind of a varied career. When I left Sally, I had a creative bug, and I've been a lifelong photographer. So I opened a gallery in St. Augustine, just off of St. George Street, on Hippolyta Street, and sold my photographs of St. Augustine in the area and large format prints on canvas. And I did that for about 8 years. And then there started to be all these companies that would go out there and put other people's photographs on canvas, and really cheap. You could order your own photograph on canvas for less than I was paying for the quality archival frames that I was using. So I decided it was time to move on. So I retired completely for a year. And I was going crazy. Didn't know what to do with myself. But I had experience in building websites. I started building websites in 2008. I didn't have any real formal training, although when I started building my own, I ran into a lot of issues and called over to the college, Flagler College, and asked if they had any students over there that were good at building websites that would be interested in coming over and tutoring me for a while. So I had a young lady come over, and she helped me out, and I learned an awful from. And after that, I started building websites for other galleries, friends. And so after my year of doing nothing, I decided I was going to open up a website business. But I wanted to do it a little bit different. And some may find this a little strange, but I didn't want to go big. I didn't want to do anything nationally even. I wanted to stay small. I didn't want to do more than maybe 5 or 6 websites a year, and only to local clients, because I wanted to meet my clients, find out who they are, talk to them, find out what their real true needs were, and then build a website that suited them and their customers. And I've been doing that now for 8 years. And I manage about 24 different websites now. Some have dropped off. A few of them went out of business during the COVID thing. But I love doing what I do. I'm home every day to do it. So I'm available most of the time if anybody needs any help. So once I started managing this website, I think right from the beginning, I told Tom that I'd take a good look at the website. And it would take a little time to review everything and see where we are. There were some issues that I worked on. Thanks, that's helpful. If you keep right up with where I'm at, I won't skip anything.
Yeah.
And I found a few issues with the website. And we fixed some of those already. We've taken care of some of the email issues that we had, with organizing the email, with archiving a lot of the older email accounts that were still active from members that have left. So that's pretty much in order now, and we know who's who and what accounts what. But there's still a lot of issues with email. What we've actually got set up is we opened a separate hosting account for email through Turbofy. So we're paying Turbofy for a hosting account just so we can use their email service. Although we have a hosting account already with another company. So it's a little bit confusing there. Why we did that, I'm not sure. I don't think the Turbofy email with Yahoo is really serving your needs. I think it's difficult to get into, difficult to operate within the email system. So that's a part of what I'm kind of proposing here with this. Too many accounts. What I'd like to do, and I'm not sure of all the requirements and the permissions from the board, but I'd like to move all those accounts into one place. SiteGround. SiteGround is a hosting company that I host all of my websites with. They're rated among the top website hosts. They're not like GoDaddy or any of those. These are professional hosting companies that have a lot of backing, a lot of security, daily backups, constant help from them, easy help if you need it. And moving the domain, the hosting, the email accounts, all into that one service, I think would do really well for the board and save $197 for a separate hosting company.
Yeah,
Just
well,
for emails.
what we'll do is we'll just go down your thoughts and then we'll put
We'll
them
figure
together
that out later. I'm just
at a later meeting. We'll put together a motion and we need to understand the costs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I planned, is to let you
Okay.
know some of the things that I have in mind. And I've heard a lot of people mentioning the email issues here tonight. So the new email will allow you to log on easily through webmail, or you can download a email service called Thunderbird. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that.
Is that tied to the, there's another web server, never mind, it'll come
Yes,
to
it
me.
is. And I know what you're talking it's, I know, I'm blank too.
Yeah, it'll come to mind in a minute here.
But it's tied with that, yes. But it's not like Outlook. Or if you prefer to use Outlook, you can set your this email account up on Outlook in a few easy steps. So it gives you a lot more options, and it's very difficult. I think Tom knows. I don't know if you actually ever got it done. Trying to set up the Yahoo TurboFi email on a Outlook account. It's a
won't work.
difficult process, and it doesn't seem to work too well. I have it set up on my Outlook, but it took a lot to get it done. So that's one of the things I like to do is to consolidate all of the accounts on SiteGround. MailChimp email notifications. We seem to be having a few issues with that where when we send out notifications, what you do is you go on the website and you make a post on the website. That post is sent by what's called an RSS feed to MailChimp. And then MailChimp turns it into an email that it mails out.
So for those of you who may not know, when we post an alert or an update, there's about 500 people on that list that get emails.
There's 342.
All the way, and this includes state agencies and people in the state, so it's quite important. That's what he's talking about.
But one of the problems with the MailChimp is it doesn't have the ability to allow you to send that email immediately or a send now button. The only way it's sent out is it's scheduled. And the schedule is hourly each day. So, for example, if the schedule is set up now for 6 o'clock, and we wanted to send out an alert now, it wouldn't go out till 6 o'clock tomorrow. Unless I went in and intervened and changed the time to 7 o'clock, and now it'll go out at 7 o'clock tonight. But that's a complicated process to log into MailChimp, get to the right settings, and you have to go offline and change the settings and then back online, and it's just a complicated process. And there's another email service called MailPoet that allows you to send now. And it's actually integrated into the website. So if you go into the website, you can create your post, do all your settings for MailPoet right there on the website. Whereas MailChimp is a separate account, a separate login, and they have a lot of issues. Right? So that's another thing I'd like to propose. The other one is the YouTube meeting videos. Right now, to get our audio, which we're recording this meeting, and then that produces an audio file, that has to be converted to an MP4 file from an MP3, then upload it to Yahoo and made into a video. And then we put a link on our website to that video so that members can go back and listen to this meeting. I did a little checking and found out that on average, we get 14 views on those videos per month. That means only 14 people, on average, are watching those videos or listening to the meeting per month. I'm not sure if there's enough value there to keep that process going.
Yeah,
If there is, then that's fine. And to do what we're doing with that actually works out good for another issue that we have, and that's accessibility requirements. Because we take that video and it's not on our website, it's on YouTube. That video doesn't have to meet accessibility requirements because it's not on our website. If it were posted on our website, we would have to have text along with it. written text or the
Transcript.
a transcript or the
Yeah.
subtitles that go along with it, like you can get. So it's a good thing that we're doing it the way we are, and it saves a lot of space because we're not saving those large files on our website.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out how many people were actually watching it.
Yeah, well, I think we were led early on. I've only been I've been in the board now about 18 months, maybe 2 years. But I got the impression it was a requirement that we did this. If it's not a requirement, we can, Hans can help dig into that. But yeah, we don't need to be wasting time and money.
It's not a requirement that I can see. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere.
You talking about having the audio recordings on?
Yes.
I don't think it is, but I'll verify that.
I don't think it is a requirement. You know, if there were 300 people listening to it every month, then I'd say,
Right.
or even 50, I'd say that's, you know, maybe that's
Right.
something that's of interest, and let's keep it.
Good. Thanks for the feedback. We'll dig into it.
We've only been doing that about a year anyway, right?
Say
Not
again.
about 18 months.
Maybe 18 months.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't think anything's changed in the past 18 months to make it a requirement. I'll check.
The next one that I want to talk about is documentation. Whoa, we've got a lot of documents on the website. We've got agendas, we've got meeting minutes, we've got financial reports, budgets, a lot of information. What I can determine from the website requirements, I can't even find a requirement for posting minutes for the meeting. In the documentation, I can't find any requirements for posting even the financial reports.
There is.
Found a requirement for posting the budget.
It'll take me a minute to find it, but there is in the special district handbook.
That's where I'm referring to.
There's actually a section in state law that specifies what has to be on the websites. But it's just a one-liner in the handbook, and then you got to go to a different website to read it. So, but
But
we'll.
it's something we should look into and set some specific guidelines. For example, the agenda, we know that has to be posted 7 days prior, and they recommend keeping the agendas on the website for 1 year.
Yeah, I do know that everything over here, I think it's from the board meetings down, follows the format in that state statute. So I'll find it and
Okay, I'd have to.
we'll carry it.
We've got some documents that are on there from 2014.
Yeah, but we are required to, we just have to be careful.
Right.
It's gonna take some due diligence to pin all that down.
Understand. I'd just like to get some real clarity on
Sure.
how long those documents need to stay on the website.
Well,
One thing I know, and I don't know if it's law, but I do know it's customary for all of our governmental and quasi-governmental agencies to have their meeting minutes posted.
yeah, I looked at this before, maybe a year ago, and I'm trying to find it in my emails, and then I'll send it back out again and I'll put you on it. But I looked into this before. It is in the statute. I believe it is in meeting minutes. Well, I know it's meeting minutes and agendas and some the budgets and some financial records. But I think Tom is correct because when I did this before, I cross-checked it with the website to make sure everything was on it. So I believe Tom is correct. But I'll send it now.
Sure, I appreciate that. That would be helpful so that,
Sure.
you know, I know what's there. So just being able to establish a clear time frame on what's kept. And the way the documentation is posted on the website kind of plays into the next part of this. Most of the documentation is posted as a PDF file and an HTML file. And some of the documentation some of the older documentation is posted as just a PDF file. Well, that really doesn't meet the requirements requirements for accessibility. And it takes a lot of work. I get, or whoever's managing the website gets typically a WordPress document to post. I think the other day I got a PDF file from someone, and that doesn't help me a whole lot because I've got to convert that PDF file back to a WordPress file. WordPress is what I really need. A Word document.
WordPress.
A Word document, yes.
Oh, okay.
Not converted to a PDF or anything else.
I might be that culprit. I thought what I read was that you couldn't use the doc document.
I'm not going to use it. I'll get into that.
Okay.
What I would do with the current process is I would take that Word document and save it as a PDF, and then save it as an HTML file. But I can't save the PDF as an HTML file.
Okay.
That's why I would need the Word document. But doing it the way we're doing it really is very inefficient, and again, doesn't meet the requirements for accessibility because we're producing a PDF file. Requirements for accessibility really prefer an HTML file. So if I just got a Word document, I'd simply post it. That's all that's required.
Okay.
And as an example, you had the website up earlier. If you'd like to go back to the website, I can show you an example of what I mean.
All right.
If you look at the motions on the website,
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I was taking notes.
okay? If you go back to the website and you look at the documents pages and look at motions,
Meetings, motions.
all the way down to the bottom. This meets ADA requirements. Much easier to navigate, much easier to post. If you click on any one of those, like it opens right up, there's your HTML file, easy to read, and meets all of the accessibility requirements.
And then we have a bigger question of, do we even need to file these motions separately? To me, it seems like busy
Now, that
work.
should be part of the meeting minutes, actually.
Yeah.
Every other website that I've managed that posts their meeting minutes includes the motions in the minutes.
Yeah, for some reason, about a year ago, we all voted that this was necessary, and I don't know the backstory, but here we are.
I mean, it's great to post the motions. I think they should be posted, but I think it should be part of the
It's part of the minutes.
meeting minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Doing it
we
twice.
won't say anything about that. Now, if you go back and just open up one of the other ones, it doesn't.
Where do you want me to go?
Pardon? One of the other documents, not motions, but one of the other ones, minutes or whatever. Okay, this is the way they're currently posted.
Mm-hmm.
It's double posted as a PDF and an HTML document.
Yeah, and I guess this note means accessibility.
And that's for accessibility, but accessibility test is still going to hit on that PDF document. I run several accessibility tests on the website, and there are a lot of issues.
Okay.
And that's the next topic.
So we'll make that an action point.
Is accessibility back on my list, if you wanted to bring that up.
So we'll go back.
Okay.
Accessibility by the public?
Right, by the public.
It's-
It says
It's,
employment.
it's state requirements for our website.
Right now, the website does not meet state requirements.
Okay, I see.
In fact, they don't meet any requirements for accessibility. The website has a free little widget that you can click on and expand text and change colors. But that's not what meeting accessibility requirements means. That little widget really doesn't apply to
Okay.
true accessibility requirements. What has to happen is it needs to go back through the
I
website.
do have a hard stop in 4 minutes because we have a conference call with Hanson Engineering.
Well, I'll finish up real quick. I'll go back through the website. I've gone through the website. What needs needs to be done with a website is removing all of the PDFs and making regular text posts and the accordion files like you saw as an example. And add true accessibility support with testing, and that would be through an accessibility company. I've looked and compared them. There's two, UserWay and Accessity are two of the biggest ones. That's a plugin that we add to the website, and it provides a guide and some actual changes to the website in the programming that makes the website accessible. That's $490 a year. I think it's well worth that to be
Okay.
truly
Well, let's-
accessible. It provides an accessible certification statement. And I think that's the way to go. That's something we should discuss.
Yeah, I'll have to cut you off here, Ray.
I'm good. Just
One thing that's important is everybody needs to know our domain. I think, when does that expire and has it been renewed?
The domain has been renewed.
Okay,
It doesn't expire until 2025.
okay,
The next one up is the hosting service. That's why this is sort of an important issue about combining
sure.
the services. That is due in December 15th.
Okay,
We've got some time.
so we've got a
but
few
not a lot.
weeks. All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. I guess this meeting's kind of going to be turned around. We'll have to do the treasurer's report and all the other bookkeeping stuff after this phone call. So bear with me here while I try and connect with Brian. And hopefully it'll work. Yes. I'm hoping all I have to do is, there it is here. Now we need audio. Camera icon. Where did it go? Give me a break. I guess they have to let us join. This is different than the corporate version I'm used to using. All this stuff goes away. All right.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, how are you, gentlemen? I have turned and scan the room or share the room. Does that help?
Yeah, that's nice. Well, oh, there we go.
There we go.
Can you turn off your volume, please?
See if I can get the volume a little louder. I'm
Is the
already.
sound coming across good?
Yeah. Is that better? We have to rely on this microphone system to amplify
Yeah, you
our
guys hear
sound.
me all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alton could not make it tonight. He said he was going to try and dial in from his location. Alton, did you
Oh,
make
okay.
it?
He's not on here yet. He does
Okay.
have the same Teams invite that we all have, so he should have the capacity, even from his cell phone,
Sure.
to be able to dial
Yeah.
in.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Justin and I were just talking before we got started here. We've got a little bit of an update to provide. The big item, what we've been working on here for the past few months was to get a design, what the Water Management District is calling a design variance. So we met with St. Johns River Water Management District and had a good meeting with those guys, and we presented, the problem with adhering to their criteria with a full PMP design. Basically, what we did is we took the existing spillway on the North Dam, which is the overflow spillway, which is it's a triple box culvert that leads to the long concrete chute, and those triple box culverts are 8 feet wide by about 5 feet tall. So they provide a certain amount of flow conveyance capacity, which is basically around a 100-year flood event. So that's what they can pass. Well, if we were to have to expand those into a full PMP, it would take 50 of those, 50. So we would have to basically add 47 more box culverts to achieve that design. And that's what we presented to St. Johns River Water Management District. That's an unrealistic expansion, overly burdensome, not a favorable design at all from an engineering standpoint, all kinds of reasons, and cost as well. It'd be extremely costly to expand to that. So we are making the recommendation for a half a PMP design capacity, spillway design flood is what they call it. And in that recommendation, that would decrease the number of box culverts down to a total of 12. So we would have to basically add an additional 9 to the 3.
Okay.
So we put together a letter with our reasons and justification for the recommendation and provided that to the Water Management District a few weeks ago. They thought that they could review it and get back to us pretty quick. I reached out today to see if there was an update, if any decisions have been made, and I haven't heard back. So I was hoping to give their review to the board today, but they didn't reach back out.
Okay, well, that's, so the target being discussed is half PMP, and that
Correct.
would require 12 additional new culverts.
12 total.
Total, 12 total, so 9 additional culverts. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that includes, there's other components as well, and there are some things that we could look at when we get into the design phase to try to even reduce that number further. The reason why we have to go with so many is because of the vertical height of only having that 5 foot limits the capacity. So if there was a way we could put a control weir out in front of the box culverts, and then that control weir would hold the water elevation for the lake, and then it could spill through and then go through maybe some deeper box culverts behind that, then we could probably shrink that width down quite a bit. So we can play with that when we get into the design phase, but right now we're just looking at apples to apples, just taking what's out there and just presenting what it would take if we put a multiplier on what's out there to meet that capacity.
Okay.
Just as a concept design.
So at this point,
So
we
that's
have
what
no estimate of when St. John's might issue an approval or a permit?
Well, it'll be a reply to the request for the design variance, and it won't be a permit. But they thought that they could look at that and get back to us pretty quickly. So that's why I said I was hoping to have that reply available for the meeting tonight. But I haven't heard back from them. So it should be soon, not definitely not months out, but days to maybe a week or so.
Good.
Yeah, we did ask them the question specifically, and they told us it'd be less than a month, if I remember right. So we sent them a letter 2 weeks ago. So it really should be pretty soon.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with that. The other thing that we have ongoing is we did make an application for some grant funding. That was submitted. That was due by the end of August, and we got that submittal in. It was a pretty extensive submittal. It required benefit cost analysis and a lot of detail about it. But Kinley Horn did a good job putting all that together and getting the application in with Clay County. So this is it's a hazard mitigation grant issued through FEMA, and I believe this one is tied to Hurricane Ian. And it's more or less a resiliency funding for projects that are beneficial to help withstand hurricane type events.
Okay. Is this the one Alton mentioned that had Lake Ryan attached to it, or is that a different
This
effort?
is, yeah. When we looked at the county already had a priority ranking list established, and when we were looking to put in our application, originally we were pushing for the North Lake Dam. That one is by far the most expensive. It also is going to require probably the most design, but the big problem with fast tracking that one is we are going to have some right-of-way issues that are going to need to be taken care of before we can, before St. Johns River will ever issue a permit for that dam. So right-of-way issues can take some time to get here. So we thought we needed to adhere to the priority ranking that Clay County already had. They have Lake Ryan listed as the number 5 priority project in the county. So if we tried to deviate from that, there are 2 things. One, that they already had Lake Ryan listed, prioritized so high, and then 2, it is the least costly of the 3 dams, and the financial aspect of it would help get that approved. If we went with the North Lake Dam and we adjusted the priority ranking, there was a good chance we thought that we would hurt our chances for grant approval. So sticking to their priority list and coming in with the least costly of the 3 dams definitely increased our odds for grant approval. It doesn't guarantee it. We still may not get it, but
Sure.
We're pretty hopeful that we put our strongest case forward.
All right. Well, we take what we can get.
Once we get into the funding cycle for this project, then we can submit a second dam in the next funding cycle, and it would be more strongly prioritized and favored, because now it'll be basically an extension, a second phase of the first one that was approved. So kind of getting our foot in the door with that is going to, we think, will help us on future grant funding. And it's a really good grant. It's a 75%, 25% split. So the federal funding will cover 75% of the what was listed for the construction cost estimate, as well as design and permitting, and it included, I think, a 5% contingency. So we think that the application, the monies that were applied for, should definitely cover Lake Ryan and get us right on the right foot financially.
Okay. Good. Some good news. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know time frame. I don't know if we've heard how long it'll take before we hear any results on that application. We can reach out and try to get some idea from the county or from FEMA.
All right.
We do have an LMS meeting coming up, Ryan, within the next week here in the county.
I'll have have to ask Tom to repeat that because I couldn't really hear that.
Apparently Janet is reminding that there's a LMS meeting the 17th or the 19th.
Sometime in the next week.
Very soon. So we'll pin that down from our end here and try and make sure we have someone in attendance, if that would be of value.
Yeah, that would be good.
So who would be the best person, you or Laura at Kimberly Horn? Who would know?
It has to be one of us.
It would just be to get some information on that.
Okay.
I don't know, was it? I thought you were saying Janet was going to attend or provide that.
Well, Janet is commenting from her knowledge that she thought the meeting was the 17th,
I believe it's the
Oh, okay.
but
Okay, so
we need to pin down
I'll
that
reach
date.
out.
The one that generally
Okay.
speaking, I've been in attendance. but
All right, so yeah, we'll try to see if we can get someone
Yeah.
there to get some information from that. I got you.
Because Janet is saying she's not available for that meeting, so it will be one of us,
Okay.
or maybe one of the folks from Kimberly Horn. I don't know what's the best solution here.
Yeah, my understanding is it'll just be there to, receive information or maybe, ask a question on the schedule, but not really to present anything. So I don't think it's too critical. But just on, I think it would make sense to have somebody there to see if we can get any information on that.
Okay. We'll try and cover it from our end. All right. Any other notable comments or any question, I guess, from the board or from the audience? If not, I guess we thank you for your call and your update.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, everybody have a good meeting, and we'll see. I guess you'll catch the end of the Monday Night Football game.
Okay.
But yeah, have a good night. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye. Turn this thing back around and get it to hang up.
When did Lake Ryan become a priority?
Apparently there's a waiting system that they use. I do not understand it. I'll let Janet explain.
It's a waiting scale that the county does. And then according to what Ryan was saying, Lake Ryan is the least costly. Now, we have gone after that same FEMA grant last year or the year before, but those right-of-way issues on North Lake are very prohibitive to getting those grants. So that's a sticky
So some's got to
point.
be done.
So the county do prioritize, and because there's no right-of-way issues for Lake Ryan, and because it is so cost-effective, the grant is $2.5 million. Lake Ryan just bit the box,
So
so
we
to
put up
speak.
something.
So the, since Lake Ryan took the box, the county picks, we don't get to pick, so. Question for Jim.
So does the county administer that
The
grant?
county will administer it, yes,
Okay.
and the money will come from FEMA to the county to us.
So,
So we're paying 25%,
We will have to pay the 25%.
and the county decided that that's what they wanted us to do with their money.
So it's an option. We
Yeah,
do
I think-
not have to take the money.
sounds like there needs to be some discussion. I don't know if there's any chance of wiggling this into the bigger pool of money or,
I don't think so.
Question for you.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask. So if we received money in the name of Lake Ryan, must the funds be used for that particular project, or does it go into like our general account and then we use it for what we need to use?
As I understand it, FEMA is a federal grant,
Right.
So with it being a federal grant, you have to follow
So that money would be
Prescribed.
encumbered solely for Lake Ryan.
for Lake Ryan.
Right.
Thank you.
Do they say what we have to do at Lake Ryan?
They
That,
do
no.
not say that, but according to what Brian was saying, the 2.5 million will cover design and permitting for Lake Ryan. So that'll get us pretty far down the road.
Yeah, it's just interesting that this switch has to be made based on the weighting and the prioritization, and the short answer is we don't have all the details yet.
The
We'll
big
try.
issue is that right of way on North
Yeah.
Lake. That's a big issue. We run into it before. Carl ran into it years ago, and it's just kind of a continuing issue that comes up time and time again.
I mean, from my perspective, would be it's money that needs to be spent at some point in time, and if we have to move it to the front of the line, I don't think that's a terrible thing, but I don't know enough yet to comment. This kind of came out of the blue, so
It just seems like in the priority of what we've got in front of us, Lake Ryan is not high up there, that's all.
yeah.
And I do
But-
understand if we get that grant, they will administer it, and we don't have a choice. But his comment that it's a step in the right direction toward something in the future, I don't see that either, because we have the same right-of-way issues on North Dam as we've always had.
Well, that's, I think the issue, the gorilla in the room is that it sounds like we can't get grant money for the North Dam until we fix our right-of-way issues. And we leave it at that. That's a complex topic.
When you're talking to the federal government or the state government about grants, they will give you grants for municipalities. They will give you grants for townships and counties, but they will not give you grants for private ownership. And so that's what we're wrestling with, folks.
Thank you.
Well, what's the right-of-way issue?
I take that to mean the fact that we have private residences on the dam proper. And,
Wouldn't it be cheaper to just buy them out?
well, these are one of the many choices that have to be gone down and go through the process. So, yeah, I'm not going to try and comment now because I'm not prepared, but I don't want somebody to leave the meeting and say, well, Tom said blah, blah, blah. But, so the good news is, I guess that if we get some FEMA money through the county once, that may make it easier for the second or third or whatever times we need going forward. I'm glad that at least the county shuffled the deck a little bit to keep this in play. That's another piece of good news for us. And
Do we have a timeline on addressing this right-of-way issue on North Dam?
no, nothing has been worked on or worked out.
Sounds like
Yeah,
it needs to come to the front.
we had heard from one homeowner about what he felt he wanted, and it's big numbers, but whether that can be worked around, I don't know. I just don't know.
Basically, what I'm gleaned out of this is that we can't do anything on the North Dam until the right-of-way thing's squared away.
I wouldn't want to comment, but I think you're very close to being right. I would leave that to Hans. Maybe he's more
Well, it's
able
it's
to.
definitely an impediment to getting the grant. Now, as far as whatever, I think part of it is we need to figure out what the scope of work that they want to do, because maybe when it comes to the work, maybe it's not going to be as big of a construction. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't, I don't know, but it apparently is to getting a grant. So my services are available for whenever you want to take advantage of
Yeah.
It just depends when you want to push the issue. I mean, obviously the grant is important, and from what we're hearing, that is a roadblock to the grant. Now, is it a roadblock to actually doing whatever work needs to be done? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, now I do know, just based on what they said, because they had mentioned some of these numbers in the last meeting. So if we have to have a total of 12 culverts, which we have 3 there now on the North Dam, we do have space between the Bramlett property and the house to the east. I forget the name of that homeowner. We have about 430 feet there, which should be more than enough space. But we need to work through all the engineering issues and let the engineers engineer. The thing that comes to my mind, and again, this is just me talking, if you look at the shape of that dam, it's kind of in a convex solution. They always do that to put the soil under compression. It's shaped with the dam towards the lake. And if you look where our spillway is, it's on the peak of that. And if it's done that way for an engineering reason, it may have to stay there. If there's some latitude in the engineering, then we have 400 feet of additional land that it could be moved to, but I'm not the engineer, so I'm going to stay silent other than just point it out. So I think at this point, we, unless there's any other comments from the board or comments from the audience, we do have Donna now. She's on board. We kind of came unprepared tonight with the rain and with we didn't have proper questionnaires. We normally like to follow our procedure where we have questionnaires presented so we can go ahead. Yes, sir?
I'm not a lawyer. I've heard eminent domain. Does the board have that? If they have to buy the property, they have a...
There's language.
Oh, at the county?
The county would have to handle eminent domain. I think because we're a dependent district, that would fall to the county. But that's a choice. Yes, sir?
Did I hear right? Was that $2.5 million for just engineering and permitting the Lake Ryan Dam?
I heard that, but I don't know the total detail yet, so I wouldn't want to confirm it.
Okay, because that seems like a lot of money.
It does for that little dam. Yeah.
The amount of the grant is 2.5 million. What I heard Brian say and what I have is in my notes is he said that would cover design and permitting. Mm-hmm. Now, will it cover design and permitting plus? I don't know, but he said that would cover design and permitting.
Yeah, we would need to see the exact language of the grant.
Can I just make kind of a general statement? So I'm a resident. I have a background in design engineering, and I also have a master's degree in business. I've been running companies for the last 30 years. So one thing that would help the community is if you guys could put out a kind of a general update sheet. So like me and my wife were sitting at our house on Lake Gasbury, we're like, oh, what's going on? How come no dredging starting? When are they going to start work on the dams? You know what's going on? It would help us just to know, maybe not go into a lot of detail, but just kind of general, like, hey, we've been 17 months in the process of doing the permitting and things like that. That way we kind of have an idea of what's going on, because we see the money coming out of our taxes. So it would be good to just have an update instead of people guessing.
We do have the original schedule and the Gantt chart posted on our website, but it is now about a year old. Okay. So I recognize and appreciate your thought.
Thanks.
That Gantt chart is like if you're just perusing the website, I think that's a little labor intensive. It's not user friendly. For somebody just logging on trying to.
Yeah, I had posted another copy up here, but not everybody gets to.
Is it not here?
It's right there on the bulletin board, but this building's locked 90% of the time, so it's not like you can walk in and read it. Yeah, we need to do a better job of communicating, and that's why, back to Ray again, that's why we added the updates and the alerts right to the top of the page when we went through our little issue here.
Getting those. I like the little signs you guys put up around the neighborhood to let us know what's going on.
Well, we do have, there is a sidebar conversation going on with the community association. We have talked to them. We talked to them when we bought this TV because we knew we could avoid a lot of travel costs by having Teams meetings rather than flying Brian down here for this meeting. One of the things that we would probably need to bring back to the front burner is get an electric sign out here on the front where we can post all kinds of stuff and drive the neighbors nuts with flashing.
The problem with the electric sign is $20,000.
Yeah,
And what we've kind of decided is we're not doing that.
yeah,
And we will put up a new sign, but it'll be very close to what we've got now.
okay. So that's been talked further, and that's the,
We kicked it around
Okay.
for the last 6 months,
Yeah.
and we've tried to find cheaper solutions to it, like putting a TV in a box on both sides.
I wouldn't
In
recommend
the
that.
end, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so we've had to adjust our expectations, if you will, back
Sure.
to what we had.
Yeah, but we can certainly do a better job with our website and any other ideas that somebody
just
has.
sending out a flyer every 6 months, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
and I've actually done it for the community, and sent out a flyer for an event. We did the state boating course, and yeah, so it's not that much effort to put out a mailer.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like not a lot of people are going on the website anyway.
Hard to tell. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Way
I
to,
wasn't referring to the website. I was simply.
is there a way to count hits on the website?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's all. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but it would be nice
Sure.
to get an update. You guys figure out the best way to do it. But I think that the simplest, cheapest way probably is the best, you know? Just write a note or something. I don't know.
Well, the other thing we can do is maybe pay for the lake. Yeah, yeah, because postage gets expensive, and you can appreciate just with the numbers you've heard tonight and with what it cost us. You'll see here in a minute when we do the checkbook. We don't have a lot of free money or extra money, and postage does add up quickly. So we're trying to be frugal. But to your point, at the expense of communications, it does pay a price.
In the past, you guys sent out newsletters. Some of those are still, old ones are still on the website.
Yeah.
A newsletter would be a good option to get information.
Are you talking about the lake letter? The lake letter is put out in the association, which it will continue to be put out. And every month, we can actually write an article to go in there, and it's available either on our website or a paper copy if you want to pay an extra $10 a year, because the mailing costs are excessive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was talking just about a newsletter that's generated through the website. It's the same newsletter that you get your alerts and updates on.
I don't ever remember that being done, but it could have been.
It was several years ago.
I do like the idea of it being in the lake letter, me just saying, because then you can read everything when the bake sale's coming up and everything else.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a space that we could write something and put it in there for a reasonable, certainly it wouldn't cost us anything. And it's done not every month, but 8 times a year, and will continue to be done that way.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I wouldn't mind talking with the ladies who do the newsletter and maybe looking at getting an article together with just some bullet points, and we could approve what's going in. I could
Yeah.
talk, and
The big thing is getting the letters to them in a timely way, and that's where we
Exactly.
kept failing. And so we would get a letter in there, but it would already have gone to press, so to speak,
Yeah.
and then it was old news come the next time, so.
Yeah, really
it's-
important to, be on top of their printing deadlines.
But
And
they're
I-
really willing to take it because
They
we
are.
don't have anything.
And I don't mind taking on that and getting some information and bringing it back to the board.
I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get back to the meeting at hand here. So first thing we need to do is approval of last month's meeting minutes. I'm not sure, did these meeting minutes get sent out? So unfortunately, let me post them. Again, we're kind of at the, we're running a little bit wounded here.
Do you need a motion to postpone the approval of the August minutes until the next meeting?
I would rather, let me see if I can post these. You didn't email these to anybody, did you?
Those have not been emailed, and that is just a draft. It's not even being previewed
Okay.
for typos.
I guess that would be the most appropriate thing to do.
I make a motion to postpone the August meeting minutes draft and acceptance thereof to the October meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comment or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And nay? So the ayes have it. All right. So that will be postponed. The next order of business is the checking the treasurer report. Again, what we have is we have Donna, but we don't have a treasurer. Why don't I have that? There's 3 pages to this thing. Bear with me. And I will get back over here. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's another aggravating with this website. It's kind of tough sometimes. I think it downloaded here. The treasures, no, that's not the right one. 731, bear with me. I know it's here. Let me get back to the BizMail. No,
Right, one more now, there you go.
show original message. Why is it not giving me the attachments? This is another, let me get it downloaded. Now I can enlarge it. You can't enlarge when you're within that. Okay, so treasurer report. Are you still involved, Janet, or you want to be the official reader?
I'll be the official reader, but I have a line right across or it says transfer money market. So I'm going to do my best to read what it says, and if I'm wrong, just correct me. Our balance in our checking as of August 31st is $3,016.62. We transferred from the money market just today $26,400. Looks like $10.83. We have checks outstanding for the same amount. And so that puts the balance in our checking back to $3,016.62. In our money market, we have $983,294.48. So we moved that $26,000 to our general checking, leaving our money market balance at $958,883.65. We do have some interest that are being earned on that, and I absolutely cannot see that because of the line. And so that our total balance of all of what we currently have is $959,000.
Is it the glare from the lights?
Yeah, it's just a line that's right across where I need to see. I believe that says 959,000, or is that 960? 927.
And then here's the checks.
And these are our outstanding checks. Lee's Valve Pump, Cobb and Gonzalez for our wonderful ponds, Forest Groundworks for our mowing, Ray Dominic, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
For straightening out all of our website issues, Hanson Professional for everything that they're doing for us. Mr. Tom Lahey, $23.02. Mr. Lahey, can you explain what the $23?
That is keys for Donna.
Okay.
For the building and to access the back room so we can turn the TV on when we have our meetings.
Okay, and we have not paid the lovely Donna guys. And then our clay electric bill is $43 for a total $26,450.83. We had to do a stop payment for Thompson's contracting. And the check was evidently lost in the mail, and so we replaced that check. And cleared Ameris Bank on August 30th.
Yeah, that was interesting, having a stop payment and you're worrying about who's going to grab that check and cash it. So I guess based on the treasurer's report, we need a motion then to...
Need a motion to approve the checks so that we can pay that $26,000.
Yeah.
Second.
You're seconder, or are you making the motion?
I thought she just made it. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm making a motion.
Oh, okay.
That we can pay the checks for a total of $26,000. Some change, can you scroll up there, Tom? There we go, $26,410.83 to all of the folks that are above that line. Can you scroll up again a little bit, Tom, so everyone can see what we're paying? There we go.
All right, so we have a motion. Any second? Okay, so Larry seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so the motion passed. Just a quick comment or two on open positions. We now have Donna. We are still searching for a bookkeeper / CPA to replace Mr. Hallquist. There's not been anybody come along that I have heard. And we also have a position to replace Mary Ann Majors for the state auditor function, which is a requirement of the state. I did speak today with the Florida Association of Special Districts, and they gave me one name. I guess there's like 7,000 special districts in the state of Florida. They all have, well, not all of them have to be audited. So you'd think there'd be people like this on every street corner, but no, they're very rare. hard to come by. So I did speak today to a office down in Boca Raton, and the last email she sent back right on the way out the door was, well, can we talk? What would you pay last year? That was the first question out of her mouth was, what'd you pay for your last year's audit? Second question is, when's your audit due? And I thought they were all due at the same time, but anyway. So I will schedule a phone call with her and extract more questions from her. I did send her it's called the yellow, it's basically Mary Ann Major's quotation from last year. I felt that was a legal thing to do. I forwarded that to her, and it showed what we paid them last year. So I think it's all public record, so I don't think it's a big deal. So you can spank me, Hans, if I'm screwed up.
Don't worry about that.
So I may have a state auditor on the hook, but don't hold your breath. We do have one other potential person has been mentioned for our bookkeeping role. I don't know that needs a CPA to function as a bookkeeper. I think in my mind and from discussions with other people, if we get some QuickBooks software for a bookkeeper and let the bookkeeper do the bookkeeping function and supply this information on a timely basis to the state auditor, I don't think that this bookkeeper person needs to come to every meeting as Mr. Hultquist did or chose to do. And I throw this out for a discussion. I don't know what needs a motion or doesn't need a motion, but I'd like to hear thoughts.
Well, I don't think that a bookkeeper, we should purchase the software for a bookkeeper because this is a contract position and that bookkeeper should have software already.
We could play it that way. If this individual has the experience with QuickBooks, I have not spoken to this individual yet, and I'm not mentioning names because she may or may not respond. So I'll leave it at that. So right now, the other open positions are still open. So that's it. We've already talked to Ray. I can see he's sitting here on the edge of his seat. He's just enthralled by this whole process.
I was going to hang around and talk.
Yeah, sure. We have had the Hanson update. We talked briefly about the grant. We have been tweaking our EAP. Mike has been working on that. I don't have an update from Mike and the drawdown procedure. We learned a little bit more with this last storm approaching. We're going to change the language again in our drawdown procedure so that it can be properly followed. I guess I'm to the point now I'd like Larry, if you would want to give us an update on any water quality issues, and I could backfill on the water hiatus.
Getting worse every day, you don't want to spend the money.
I know. I spent three consecutive Saturdays and Sundays on what were the hottest days in the history of Florida, I think. Out there.
You can't do this by hand.
Yeah, it's hard to do. It's not hard to do by hand. I would qualify it as that's the easy part, getting it out of the water on the shore.
Yeah.
The hard part is getting it from the shore to a trailer and from a trailer over here and dump it on the ground. That's you're handling this stuff 3 times.
Yeah.
There's no machine easily going to do that for us. But we do need more involvement from the neighbors and the people that live on the lake.
They do have machines that does that.
I know they have a machine that does that, but the challenge with the machine, because we had it here as well, the challenge I see is not destroying the eelgrass and not destroying the lily pads, because I think they have some value. But there is a lot of goop on the bottom.
Yep. Let me clarify that.
Yeah, please.
You're not going to destroy the lily pads by cutting them. The only way to get rid of the lily pads is get rid of the root.
Dig them out, yeah.
So you can whack them off you want,
Yeah.
and they're going to grow again. So eliminate that from just the reason we're not spending the money because nobody knows how much money we need for the dams yet, and they don't want to go in there and spend it. But you're going to eventually spend the money to have it harvested out and placed behind this building because there's no other way to get rid of it.
Right.
And you're gonna get choked out by the hydrilla already. Again, it's already 16 foot tall.
Yeah, it's
If you don't
quick.
take care of it now, it's gonna choke the lake out of you.
Yeah.
It is.
And you got all that gooks on the top of the lake now, then you got 2 foot of gook on the bottom. And the board needs to do something about it, but you can't even use the lake. So why are we worried about the dam if the lake's gonna die?
Well, it's a complex chicken or egg question.
Well,
So
we need to spend the money.
Yeah,
The board needs to spend the money to clean the lake up and not worry about the dam right now.
So I think the daily rate to bring a machine and the operator in here, we know what that number is. I had chatted with Larry briefly about, can we rent a machine?
I have another questionnaire out as of today. I filled out all the necessary stuff online for this outfit that may, I don't know if this deal with ponds or what, but rent a harvester.
Exactly. We get enough people to drive it,
And
we
we
can rent it.
Right.
will drive it, and that way we can get enough people with their trucks, trailers, so on and so forth.
Correct.
And I asked for a price range of 15 days to 30 days, just to see how much it would cost us to rent one. If they will rent it, and I talked to Carol about the insurance, but I guess it's like any other rental thing. If they would rent it to us and we would drive it, they would have their own insurance to cover it because it's their machine. And usually when you go rent anything, they have the insurance for it, correct?
Yeah, usually.
So I'm waiting on that information. If nothing else, and it looks like it's feasible, I'll request that we have another board meeting, a special meeting, just to handle that situation and approve the money for it. That's the only way I know to do it.
Yeah.
We have it set up once a month.
And didn't we spray for hydrilla last time? At least didn't we spray for hydrilla last time? To get rid of the hydrilla?
They put in 1,000 grass carp to eat that up.
And we do have our permit now though for the spray.
We have an updated permit, and I put, we ended up with 250 grass carp put in at the end of March, additional to what we had. And the body just said to wait at least 1 year before we up that, to where we didn't lose all the vegetation at one time like we did before. That's why come we have all the muck and everything on the bottom of the lake. Otherwise, it would still be that sand.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or comments? I guess in my mind, I know this stuff grows fast right in front of my place. It's
Each
coming.
plant produces another plant every 5 days.
Yeah. So it's just in this heat, the last few weeks, man, I can't do it. Not at my age. We gotta find a better way.
I have had one comment made to me, and I just shake my head, that, well, we're coming up on winter time, and if we have some cold weather, it's gonna slow it up. Yeah, it's gonna slow it up.
Not that
Not
much.
gonna get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't want to add to the meeting time because I know everyone wants to go home and catch the Monday Night Football. But an update, if you guys do an update like what's holding up the dredging process and things like that, what's going on with the county. And I don't know if you guys want it, but I have a video. I live on the end of a finger on Arthmore Drive. see all the crap coming right down through the ditch and filling up our finger. You know, I've always wondered why we're paying to dredge that out and not the county. You know, it doesn't seem right that we're taking our money when it's, especially in our finger. I can tell you, it's not caving in from the sides or anything else. It's coming right down the spillway. So I don't know. I've seen some talk about it, but is someone actually dealing with it?
Mr. Montage, would that video help you? Would that video help your committee?
Oh, it's all definitely good.
Yeah, we could, I hate to put Mark on the spot, but he has been involved with the county and,
But they're not gonna do anything. I can tell you that right now. Too many people are talking. I only lived here 7 years, but I've been told point blank, if we get the county help me. And I'd like to clarify one other thing, that not one single person on this board had anything to do. FEMA contacted the board, the people that was on the board back when the hurricane, took place and started washing it all in that culvert that you're talking about.
Right.
And the people who were on the board at that time, when FEMA offered them money, refused it, turned it down. And as far as I'll check with FEMA on that subject too. I called them.
yeah, there's a lot of history here that we're not gonna go over it tonight.
No, that's okay. I understand. I'll get with this gentleman. We have matching hearing aids, so it must be little effects.
Oh, yeah.
It aggravates me that Mark Norman or anybody would refuse money for something like that. That's what happened. And I'm not gonna sit here and take the blame, and why can't we do this, why can't we do that?
I wasn't trying to blame anyone.
No,
I was just asking.
I want everybody that has a home on the lake to know that. I don't live on the south lake, but it's a travesty.
Yeah, we have the weed issue certainly, and we have the drainage issues and the runoff issues.
Yeah.
And we have the Hazelwood Hole. There's lake lot owners that have no waterfront, and this.
I know we can't swim. We used to be able to swim behind our house, but we can't swim anymore. It's just got, you know, if I jump in the water, the muck comes up to here.
I saw the machine. You guys driven across the Shands Bridge and looked at the machines they're using over there to clear out they got these track hose on a big barge. That's what we need. Bring one of them in here for about a day. We'd be done. But yeah, that's not the cost. The cost is all the permitting and the blah 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 up front to get
I'll try to come to the meetings more often.
Yeah.
I travel a lot, but I'll try to come to the meetings so I don't have to ask so many stupid questions.
Yeah. So with that, Hans, did you want to go over your thoughts? You had put out that little 2-pager
Yeah,
on
I mean,
retention.
I'll defer to you whether you want me to talk about it or not. I emailed it out.
Yeah, just give everybody a quick overview in case they haven't read their email. I'm sure everybody's read it.
I copied mine off.
I can put it up here on the. So, and this again is state requirements for retention of records. We have a whole room full of records here. We had file cabinets that were not locked. Keys were missing. We've got that fixed. We now need to understand our retention policy and get cracking and get it fixed. So I'll let Hans.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so a few meetings ago, you all requested that I put together a records management program. Since the state does require it, and it doesn't appear that there had been one. If there was, I don't know that we know where it's at. So I put one together and I emailed it out to you all. I mentioned in my email when you it's 5 or 6 pages. When you first look at it, it might be a little overwhelming, but a lot of the content is really just to explain and give context, not just for your benefit, but I mean, you don't know who's going to be on the board, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now. So that was the purpose too, is for the, when the board changes over as the years go on, for them to understand what this is about and what we're trying to do. And a lot of it is regulated by the state. I referenced the general record schedule. They call it a GS1 SL. Yes, it's created by the Florida Department of State. for the purposes of agencies organizing their records into different categories. And so what they have done is they've created a record schedule where they call it a record series. So if you look at the document I sent out with this, that Department of State record schedule, it's about 96 pages. And it just goes over, I think it starts on page 11 and goes to page 50 or something, but it's just all these different record series of all the different records that an agency could have. And it assigns it an item number, and basically that's what you would use to help you organize your records. And you would create you basically create a cover page, which is the record series for each group of records. And on that, I put in the program what it says as far as what should be on there. You have the record series title, and this is already created for you by the state, so we're not having to reinvent the wheel here. We just got to figure out which of the district's documents fall into the different record series titles. And then we create that cover page for each one. And it'll list a description and what the retention period is. And so as time goes on, the challenging part that I mentioned in my email is just initially putting all your records in this order. That's going to be the challenging part. But then once that's done, it won't be, as new records come in, they just get added to those different record series. And it makes it easier for locating your records, for responding to public records requests, things like that, because I put some examples in this program, but a record series title, one example that was created by the state is a project file for capital improvements. Well, that would apply to what you're doing with Hanson. So all of these Hanson records, as you get them, would go into that record series title, and then they're all there. And then as time goes on, as you get more, as the project continues, they just go in there, whether it's a physical file or electronic file. If it's a physical file, you would have filing cabinet with a lock on it, and each folder would have the record series title cover page, and then the documents after that. If it's an electronic file, same thing. It would just be saved on the cloud system or whatever it is you would use. And then it helps you to easily locate the records, and then it would also help you to easily know when to dispose of the records, because what the Department of State has done in that general schedule is they've assigned a retention period for each type of document. Now, it doesn't mean you got to dispose of them right away, but you can if you want to, as long as you meet that retention period. And then you just have to keep track of the records you disposed of, which is a separate file. Well, it's not the actual records you're keeping or disposing of them, but you just got to keep track a record of these series that you've disposed of and when you disposed of them and how you disposed of them. So the last 2 pages of this program just lays out, step by step, hey, here's what you should do. So, first you would establish a record series cover page for each type of record that you have. Now, I know you got to figure out what those records are. I mean, we know generally what some are. You're going to have your audits, you're going to have your meeting minutes, you're going to have your agendas, you're going to have your notices. Those would each be a separate record series. But there might be stuff in these filing cabinets that we don't really know. So as we go through it, you would create a different record series cover page. Then you complete that inventory, and then you divide them up. I would recommend that your physical records, you eventually get those scanned in so that you will have a corresponding electric file or electronic file, so that way it just makes it easier to access and be able to respond to public records requests. And then, all future records that you get, whether if it's emailed to you, great, because it's already in electronic form. If it's not, if it's a physical record that you get, like maybe an invoice gets mailed to you, an invoice from the landscaper or whoever, well, that would go into the landscaper file, but you could scan that in. Now, I know, Tom, you asked me about this, and this may help for the website. We get a lot of emails, right? There's a lot of emails going back and forth from just different individuals that the district is in communication with, whether it be Hanson or me or the county or whoever. There's no separate category for emails. Emails fall into the category of whatever the topic is. So if we're doing emails on the an email involves me or maybe involves a future CPA with the annual budget, well, that would go into the annual budget folder. And so that's what the retention period for your emails are going to be different because it just depends on the content of what the email is.
I see.
And that's where it would fall into those folders. Now, the reason why it's important to do this, because what the state requires that you have a, let's see what they call it. They call it a records management liaison officer. Now, your charter, the district's charter says that's the secretary. So congratulations, Donna, that you got a new title.
I've done it.
She just got a raise.
Yeah.
Joking.
And so according to
I was wrong.
according to the state's requirements, that liaison officer does a handful of things. One, you're the point of contact for the Department of State. If they ever need to reach out for whatever, that would be you. Now, obviously, you would communicate that to the trustees, but you're the point of contact. You would complete the annual compliance statement. So those of you on the board probably already know about this because this comes from the state every year around November. It's a, let's see, what do they call
actually
it?
does
The audits of the records? That would be us. I mean, there's no,
Okay.
I mean, maybe that would be you, and you could get help,
Yeah.
It's called a records disposition form. And so that's something that we're required to file every year with the state. Apparently the state sends that out. I'm assuming it goes to the secretary's email address. I don't know. It may have gone to Carl Coker's email address because I think maybe he designated himself as the point of contact in years past. So I don't know if his email is still getting this. I don't know. But just know that in November of each year, the Department of State sends out that records disposition form, which needs to be filled out and signed by you as a records liaison, and then that just gets sent back to them. But I can talk to you about that when you get it. And then obviously the records liaison maintains the records. So as records comes in, once we're able to accomplish this task of getting this set up and established, it'll be easier going forward because you will have those categories already set up, whether physical in the file or electronic, and these forms come in, you just put them in there. Yeah, and it'll make life easier for responding to stuff, for just if the trustees need to know something that happened 2 years ago and we know it involved landscaping, okay, well let's go to the landscaping file because it should be in there. And so that's what this is. That's what this is about. And so I emailed it out, and I know when you look at it at first, it's a little overwhelming, but I think the more you kind of understand of just what the point of it is, it's not too bad. So if you all have any questions, let me know.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to manage this going forward. We'll have to.
And I know in that
We'll have
meeting
to figure out a plan.
Yeah, it was a few meetings ago. There was questions. Hey, can we just set a committee to help the secretary go through the records and organize them? Yes, I mean, you can absolutely do that, and we can have those conversations at a later meeting if that's what you want to do. But that's really the next step. The next step is to create those record series titles. On page 4 and 5, the last 2 pages, I kind of put a step-by-step bullet point of what we need to do. Now, it doesn't really matter who does it. I mean, Donnie, you can do it as the secretary. You can do it and have me review it. You can have me do it. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you all want to do that's cost effective and that makes sense for you. And then as far as organizing the documents, if you all want to set a committee for people that you think would be willing to help you do that, then that's really the next step. And then you get them all in the order, and then you just go from there.
I guess I'll try and figure out where this annual compliance form goes or comes from. I don't know.
Well, I want to say I don't remember what it is I saw, but I saw something in the past that I think had at one point in time Carl designated, which is fine. It doesn't matter who's designated. I mean, your charter says that the secretary is a record liaison, but so it should be going to the secretary email. But I just don't.
I'll see what I can find, and if I can't, I'll call Carl. I'm not beyond that. Case in point, I know our annual audit that Mary Ann Majors executed and costs us a lot of money. That's a $10,000 bill. I was looking I don't even know how I found it, but I was looking for something in the special district handbook, and I clicked on this link. I'm like, oh, well, let me go see that our audit has been posted for 2022. It has not been posted, so I don't know if we've left out a step, but the Auditor General's office has a list of all the special districts, and we're not on it.
So based on what you saw, they're saying they haven't received it?
They look like they're a year behind. That's
Now,
how,
it shows, if you go under Logger X, it does show that we are complete and it's accepted.
go where?
Logger X, that's the website where you upload
Logger
the audit
X.
and answer their questions, LOGER
Okay.
X. So,
Okay.
Alton and I both have logins for that. But I'm sure there's a way you can go in without logging, but it does show that it was uploaded and accepted.
Because the one that I landed on, it looks like it's about a year behind. The newest one on there is 2021.
That may be the old system, because Logger X just came into being
Okay.
this year.
Yeah. So is there any other, I have one point of new business, and I'll ask, is there any other new business first? Mine's quite trivial. My piece of new business is that we have an old Gateway laptop that was given to Shirley, and now it's sitting in my kitchen. And we also have a printer that Shirley was using. Donna says she has a printer. So what would be the best disposition of these two pieces of equipment? We don't need them. I don't think they're worth a whole lot, or we could donate them somewhere, or what are other people's thoughts on this matter?
Do one of our other sister organizations need them, community organization or all?
They've got their own printer back here.
We have,
Yeah.
I don't know about Kay's group, maybe she can use it. I don't know.
We just got a new computer.
Okay. So, the only thing you can do is number.
Anybody have no kid, a teenager that needs a computer? I mean, it's a Gateway. It's running Windows 8. I don't know if that can be upgraded.
They take them down.
Yeah.
Lord.
I don't even know what's on it because I can't find the power supply for
I
it.
think recycling might be the best answer.
I'm gonna say, I don't even think anybody's gonna find to give that.
I know.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's make a motion that we recycle the updated.
Okay. Say no more. I do want to, I have the patch cables. I'll pull the hard drive out of it and take everything off the hard drive and scrub it before we scrap it. As just to be thorough regarding records retention, I guess.
But you mentioned that Donna's using her own printer. Are we compensating her for that?
We talked about.
Well, we would normally pay for paper and ink anyway, so I think that's in place already.
Good.
Yeah. We wouldn't expect her to pony up for that. So with that, I don't have anything else to offer.
I have two things.
Sure.
This week on my front porch, somebody left me some of the old documents for here. This one happens to be a set of HR records that I don't really know who to hand that off to. And this one is law engineering, which is on our website anyway. So I don't know why they left it, but I don't want it. And and the HR records are all old. I'm not sure if there's that. I'm sure that there's something that says we have to keep HR records, but I don't know. I didn't look at that 96 pages to figure that one out. And then the last thing that I have tonight is we do have our insurance done. It is going to renew October the 1st, and I realize that they haven't given me an invoice yet, but when I receive it, they want to be paid. They don't want to wait. So
Yeah.
we'll have to deal with that. And the next thing is, I decided that I needed to find out about an umbrella because our exposures are so great here. And when I did, because we're with a public entity that insures groups like us, absolutely no one, after looking at our record, was willing to do that. So an umbrella is out of the question. Right now we have $5 million, which is adequate when we have sovereign immunity, but only half of the damn property, half of a portion of the damn property is owned by Municipal Services Benefit District, which gives us the sovereign immunity. The other half of whatever we own is owned by lake lot owners who does not have sovereign immunity, which means that if we get ourselves in a real bad situation, this group is okay. The lake lot owners would not be okay if it exceeded the limit of liability that they have. So it says that we should, as we talk about who owns what and rights of way, we should be talking about that, because if the people of the lake realize that they were that exposed on a portion of the dam to being sued individually if there were a loss, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah, it's a
So I've brought
complicated.
this up before, I'm bringing it up again, because I see it as urgent before we start getting into all of this business of trying to repair a dam that's as old as our dam. And I think it's serious.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into what the reason why this Lake Ryan money floated to the top, not the other money. I didn't mention earlier, but because we do have the Lake Lot organization is co-owners with these dams, which makes it even more complicated. I don't know.
Anyway,
Sorry.
I had asked Hans to talk with the attorney for the lake lot owners, and I thought they were in the process of doing that, but it seems to have gotten stalled or something.
Yeah, I spoke to him, and he understands the issues as far as the liability for being privately owned, at least a portion of it. But he doesn't. I don't get specifics with his clients because that's him and his clients. Privileged information, so I don't know exactly what's going on his end, but I know that he understands the issues. But as far as getting the lake lot owners to do anything with that, that's going to require them to take action and have a vote on whatever they want to do. So there's only so much I can do. I've explained this and had conversations with Chuck Brown, and he understands the issues, but I know he generally said that they had some concerns. I don't know much of what else is going on as far as I read the conversations they're having.
So you don't have a motion, you're just updating.
Basically, I've talked to Alton about it, and he approved me doing what I've done so far.
Sure.
I kind of was looking for some feedback, which I just got tonight. I think we need to chat about it some more. It's like we're all the same people. The same people that are the lake lot owners are all of us. We're not separate groups. So what we're trying to do in talking about this is to protect all of us, not to the exclusion of any of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that it really kind of is questionable why someone would have a slowdown on trying to do this.
I could reach back out to him because I think the last time I spoke to him was maybe maybe a month ago. Whenever you were on vacation, you came back and we had some emails and I shared with you. That was right around the last time I spoke to him about it, so I can follow up with him again. I don't know how often they meet, so I'm not sure how often they meet monthly. Okay. So maybe they've had a meeting or two since then, so I can follow back up with them.
there's no more business, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
I guess we ought to say aye.
Was that Pence? Pence did the second. Mike Pence did the second.
Larry.
That was funny.
I don't have any
Thank you, man. I'll take it.
Do you have a key to it now?
I will.
This is actually on our website.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, I never ever looked at it in its entirety on the website as to whether the whole book's on there.
We'll just put them back.
Yeah, well, I know it's part of your background.
We can glance at them and see what they are. But,
Take them.
yeah. And then, but you're welcome to just put them in these file cabinets here. I gotta find them. I know there's keys to the file cabinet. I believe Alton has keys to the file cabinet. I do not have keys to the file cabinet.
We'll figure it out. I can go because it's the same across the board in the state of Florida for in corporate or something. It's just kind of weird being because I'm on the board of directors, I'm the board member for the equestrian center. We're 501c3. Yeah. So we run it, but we don't get paid a cent. But we run it. So
You'll catch up.
I'm with Diane today. These 15 ladies. No, Tom has been real.
He needs stability.
I can call the state and find out how it goes out that legally. I know if you don't pay the sunshine.
But this is a good one. That's
Or something else.
I'm pretty sure.
I did that.
I'm pretty sure on the Sundays.org, I'm pretty sure there's a click on the operations section and forms. I'm pretty sure there's a form. And I think you just fill out something. I think you just
Second question is this.
Call Tuesday.
We pay pittance of $25.
That was Tuesday afternoon. She died this morning. What?
I went back to my insurance and I said, what
I mean, holy
charges for insurance? I said, all right, then we have an
we
association.
kind of deal with that a little bit.
Let's say membership, because people don't volunteer and pay.
So I can do this for
It
you.
turns out, they do.
Oh, it's not how much stuff they grant. You'll see every once in a while, you realize.
That's a little frightening.
Yeah, well, like I said, I want some more course therapies, but JVC, we can use that. Agree to disagree.
Nobody knows. Why don't we volunteer and then explain to them that they would like to say they're doing that's fine, but voluntarily they're already part of the association. I never realized that. So that is a bigger question. And what they ask
See,
me
this is
when
our relationship with the county. Because the county,
about this kind
Well,
of
let me
thing.
tell you, we put in
Attorney Ryan has it where they do anything like
so when
Well,
they have no record of us putting the garage,
set up? Did they set up
garage, 25 feet.
another one?
And they told me
Chuck Brown.
that the waterfront was a street
Isn't
front.
he the association? You don't
So I don't know all the permits that we have copies of. You want to see what you can build across the front? Let me show you.
And if you look at it like this, the association is always run for years. When the association said, we don't do anything with the lake lot, let's sell it to you. So they sold us.
I know.
Services.
All right, hold on, let me see.
So they gave it to two of them.
I sent it to Tom, but Tom, it didn't go through to Tom. back to municipal services. It is.
Yeah, I guess I just
it's
assumed on that
unbelievable.
end.
Is this on the way?
Yeah, right across from
They
me.
were all.
Actually, it's even, look at this. Separate. Look at that. There's no. You see that? That's what makes.
All right, how are you?
There's communication, yes. Oh, hey, that's right. All that is. They've been doing it for years and a half.